Hello everyone, this is the second lecture on organic chemistry, and in this lecture we will discuss three very important topics. One of them is homologous series, the next is structure of organic compounds, and the third one is isomerism. So let's start with homologous series. So the first question comes, what is the meaning of homologous series? So the homologous series is a series of organic compounds in which successive compounds, or you can say successive members, follow the regular geometric pattern or regular structural pattern, and they differ by CH2. Successive compounds or successive members will differ by CH2. Means they will differ by one carbon atom and two hydrogen atoms. Means every next compound, every next member of series will have one more carbon atom and two more hydrogen atoms. So this is how we define the homologous series. Now, what are the characteristics of homologous series? So there are a few characteristics which are already there in definition. That means they differ by one carbon and two hydrogen atoms, means CH2. So they will differ by CH2. It means if they differ by CH2, because the next member will have one more carbon atom and two more hydrogen atoms. And what is the atomic mass of carbon? That is 12. And what is the atomic mass of hydrogen? That is 1. There are two hydrogen atoms, so 12 plus 2, that is 14. It means every next member of homologous series will increase its molecular mass by 14. So its molecular mass will increase by 14. So if there is some molecular mass of first compound, the next compound will have the molecular mass 14 more than previous one, and it will keep going on. So the next characteristics of homologous series is that they have similar physical and chemical properties. So they generally show similar physical and chemical properties, and these physical properties generally vary slowly or gradually as we move in the series. So this is one of the characteristics, that they will have similar physical and chemical properties which may differ gradually along the series. Now the next question comes, what is the importance, what are the significance of homologous series? So next topic that we are going to discuss is significance of homologous series. So there are many significance of homologous series. So one of the importance of homologous series, that it makes the study of organic compounds easier, because we know that compounds of homologous series may differ in properties gradually. So we can study the similar compound, all the compounds of homologous series, because they have almost similar properties, so we can study them together. So it makes our study easier. And the second thing that is very important for us, that we can predict the behavior of compounds with the help of homologous series. So these are a few significance of homologous series. Now the next topic, that is homologous series of hydrocarbons. So these are very important homologous series of hydrocarbons. So as we know, there are two types of hydrocarbons. So if we talk about the homologous series of hydrocarbons, we have the first one is called alkanes. The first one is called alkanes. So alkanes are generally saturated hydrocarbons. That means alkanes which have single bond between carbon atoms. So such compounds are called alkanes. So alkanes are those compounds which have single bond between the carbon atoms, and there are obviously only hydrogen and carbon atoms are there. So if we talk about the general formula, one of the characteristic of the homologous series is that they have a fixed general formula or same general formula. So if we talk about alkanes, the general formula of alkanes is CnH2n plus 2. Means if there are n carbon atoms, then there will be 2n plus 2 hydrogen atoms, means 2 more than twice of the number of carbon atoms. So if we talk about the homologous series of alkanes, on putting the value of n, 1 to many. So if we put the value of n1, so the formula will become, you can put the value here 1, so 2 into 1 plus 2, that is CH4. So its name is methane. Similarly, if we put the value 2, so it will become C2, 2 into 2, 4, plus 2, 6. So 2 more than twice. So C2H6, that is called ethane. Similarly, C3H8, that is called propane, and C4H10, that is called butane. Similarly, we have C5H12, that is called pentane. Then for 6 it is called hexane. Then for 7 it is called heptane. For 8 it is called octane. For 9 it is called nonane. For 10 it is called decane, and so on. So this is how we can classify the alkanes. The second homologous series is called alkenes. So after alkanes we have alkenes and alkynes. So the second one is called alkenes. So alkenes have the general formula of CnH2n. So these are alkenes and alkynes are unsaturated hydrocarbons. So these are unsaturated hydrocarbons. So alkanes are saturated while alkenes and alkanes are unsaturated hydrocarbons. And what is the formula of alkenes? General formula of alkenes is CnH2n. So the alkenes which have only one double bond, alkenes have double bond and alkynes have triple bond. So if we talk about the third homologous series, that is called alkynes. So alkynes have triple bond while alkenes have double bond. So if homologous series have double bond between carbon atoms, then it will be called alkenes. And in homologous series, if there is a triple bond between carbon atoms, it is called alkynes. So what is the general formula of alkanes? That is CnH2n plus 2. General formula of alkenes which have one double bond is CnH2n. And general formula of the alkynes, alkynes means the compounds which have a triple bond, their general formula is CnH2n minus 2. So you can see there are 2 more hydrogen atoms, then hydrogen atoms are decreasing by 2 and 2 more. So it keeps on decreasing from alkanes to alkenes and then to alkynes. Now if we see the formula, so because you can see here there is double bond between carbon atoms. So if there are 2 carbon atoms, then only there can be a double bond between carbon atoms. Otherwise it is not possible to have double bond between carbon atoms in a single carbon atom. So there should be at least 2 carbon atoms in alkenes and alkynes. So for one carbon atom there is no portion, so you have to put the value of n from 2, 3, 4 and so on. While here you can put the value of n equal to 1, 2. So here you can start from 1, but here in case of alkenes and alkynes you have to start from 2. You cannot put the value of n equal to 1. So let's see the formula. So you can see number of hydrogen atoms is twice the number of carbon atoms. So formula is easy, like C2H4. So in case of alkenes we use the word enes. Remember, in case of alkanes you use the word anes, and in case of alkynes we use the word ines. So since we are talking about alkenes, so it will be, because it was ethane, so it will be ethene. Its name will be ethene. Its name will be propene. Then next one will be propene. So it will be C3H6. Then C4H8. It will be butene. Then C5H10. It will be pentene, and so on. C6H12. It will be hexene, and so on. Similarly, if we talk about alkynes, so we use YNE. It ends with YNE. So if we put the value of N2, so it will be 2 into 2, 4 minus 2, that is C2H2. So its name is ethyne. So we will use the word ethyne. Similarly, propyne. So it will be C3H4. Then butane. Butane will be C4H6. So there will be 2 less than twice of the number of carbon atoms. So number of hydrogen atoms is 2 less than the twice of the number of carbon atoms. Now we will have pentyne, that will be C5H8 and so on. So you can see here there are a few homologous series: alkanes, alkenes and alkynes. So we will discuss about these homologous series later in details. The next topic that we have is structure of organic compounds. So we will talk about the structure of organic compounds. So let's see what are we going to discuss in structure of organic compounds. So if we talk about the organic compounds, we can represent an organic compounds in two ways, either just by molecular formula, but in case of organic compounds, molecular formula is not sufficient to explain the properties of the molecule. So we have a structural formula here. So you know about the molecular formula, we just put the number of atoms and we keep it in a formula. For example, if we talk about methane, so we will write CH4. Similarly, ethane, it will be C2H6, then propane C3H8 and so on. But what about structural formula? So in case of structural formula, not only we have to know about the number of atoms of each element, we also have to know about the arrangement of the atoms, how they are forming the bonds with each other. So this is the difference between the molecular formula and structural formula. In case of molecular formula, we only put the number of atoms of each element. So for example, if we talk about C3H8, it means there are 3 carbon atoms and 8 hydrogen atoms. If there are 4 carbon and 10 hydrogen atoms, so it will be butane. So from this, the only information that we get is there are 4 carbon atoms and 10 hydrogen atoms, but we don't know how these carbon atoms are arranged, or we don't know how these hydrogen atoms are attached to the carbon atoms. So for that, we have structural formula. So molecular formula is clear to you. We already know about the molecular formula. Now, if we talk about the structural formula, there are 2 types of structural formula. One is called condensed structural formula, or you can say condensed structural formula, and the second is complete structural formula, So the second one is complete structural formula and the first one is condensed formula or condensed structural formula. So first we will talk about the complete structural formula, then you can easily understand what is condensed structural formula. So what is complete structural formula? In case of complete structural formula, we have to show each bond, each single or double bond. So bond is generally shown by a dash line. If there is a single bond, it is shown by a dash line, and if there is a double bond, it is shown by double dash, or if there is triple bond, it is shown by triple dash. So I hope you have understood the way in which we represent the complete structural formula. So let's see some examples. For example, we are writing the formula of ethene. So how do we put the complete structural formula? That is C2H6. So we have to represent each and every bond. So in this there will be a carbon chain. So I will make you understand how can you make the structure of this compound. So you can see here there are 2 carbon atoms. So C and C. Obviously carbon atoms first they will be attached to each other. So there are 2 carbon atoms, and I have already told you that you have to complete the 4 bonds of carbon. So since we are talking about ethane here, not ethene, it is ethane. So if we are talking about ethane, so you know that in case of alkanes, because it is the category of alkanes, so there will be only single bond between the carbon atoms. So there are all single bonds, and you know that carbon atoms will form 4 bonds. So each carbon atom will have 4 bonds. Now 1 bond is between these 2 carbon atoms, and remaining 3 bonds means each carbon atom has to form 3 more bonds. So this carbon atom will form 3 single bonds with hydrogen, because hydrogen cannot form double bond, you know that, because hydrogen need only 1 electron, so it can only form single bond. So each of these carbon atoms will form single bond with hydrogen, and this is the complete structural formula of ethane. I hope you have understood how can we give the complete structural formula. Now let's talk about a few more examples. Like if we talk about propene, so let's talk about propene. So there will be 1 double bond between any 2 carbon atoms. So first of all, you have to put 3 carbon atoms in line, 1, 2 and 3. So 3 carbon atoms have to attached to each other. So since 3 carbon atoms are attached to each other, so you have to put one double bond. So you can make any of these two a double bond. So for example, I have kept double bond here. So this carbon atom has already formed double bond. So 2 bonds are completed. So it will be attached to 2 hydrogen atoms like this, right? This carbon atom 1, 2, 3. So this carbon atom has already formed 3 bonds. So it will form only one more bond. And this carbon atom has formed only one bond. So it has to form 3 more bonds. So H, H, H. So this is how you can explain the structure. Similarly, if we talk about the condensed formula, what is the condensed formula? So in this case, in this formula, we don't have to represent each and every formula. We just represent the double and triple bonds between the carbon atoms. So we only have to represent the bonds between carbon atoms and not the bonds between hydrogen and carbon. So for that we write, for example, if we have C atom here, that is carbon atom, and 3 hydrogen atoms are attached to carbon atom. So you can write it CH3. So CH3 means these hydrogen atoms are attached to carbon atom. And then one more CH3. You can also write it H3C. Both are same thing. H3C or CH3, both are same thing. So you can show it like this. So this is the condensed formula. You don't have to represent the single bonds here. So you also represent it like this, CH3, CH3. You also don't have to represent the single bonds between the carbon atoms. So you don't have to represent single bonds here, or only the bonds between the carbon atoms and not the bonds between carbon and hydrogen. So this formula, that's why it is called condensed formula, because it is quite shorter as compared to the complete formula. Complete formula is very large formula, and therefore it is very inconvenient to write again and again. If you have to write the formula every time, we have condensed formula here. So we use condensed formula, and condensed formula is very helpful to find out the structure also. If you want to have condensed formula of this compound, you can have CH2. So you can write CH2, then we have double bond, then CH, there is only CH, then we have single bond, then we have CH3. Remember, if we're talking about this bond, the bonds between carbon atoms, so here if you are writing hydrogen, it does not mean that this bond is being formed with carbon and hydrogen. This bond is between these 2 carbon atoms. So you have to be careful about it. So this is how you can write down the condensed formula, or you can write down the complete structural formula. Let's see one more example. For example, we have C3H7OH. This is called propanol. So there are 3 carbon atoms, 1, 2, 3, and this is hydrogen, 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 hydrogen. You have to form 4 bonds complete, and then OH, then hydrogen and hydrogen. So this is the OH groups. We will discuss this later. So this structure is the formula of propane 1-ol. This is called propane 1-ol. Now if you remove OH from here and if you put here, so it will be called propane 2-ol. Now you can see the formula is same. So we will talk about it later in the next topic. So before going to the next topic, we have 2 very important points. One is functional group and other is alkyl groups. So first we will talk about the functional group. So functional group is a group of atoms, or they may have single atoms. So an atom or group of atoms which determine the properties of an organic compound is known as functional group. So there are so many functional groups that we have, that we will be talking about. So some of these functional groups are alcohol. Some are alcohol. So alcohol, that is OH group. Then we have ketones. So in ketones we have C double bond O. Then we have aldehyde. So aldehyde is C double bond O, and we have H here. Then we have some more groups, that is carboxylic acid. Carboxylic acid. So if you talk about carboxylic acid, there is C double bond O, OH. Then we have esters. ethers. If you talk about ethers, it is oxygen only. So on the both side of oxygen atoms, there will be alkyl groups. So the question is, what is alkyl group? Alkyl group is very easy to understand. Alkyl group comes from alkanes. What is the general formula of alkanes? That is CnH2n plus 2. Now, if we remove one hydrogen atom from alkanes, it will become alkyl group. So alkyl group, general formula of alkyl group is CnH2n plus 1. It means if we remove one hydrogen atom, carbon need to require one bond, and that bond can be formed with these functional groups or with any hydrogen atom. So these are the examples of functional groups, and this is the general formula of alkyl group. So you have to remember about the general formula of alkyl group. Let's move to the next topic, that is isomerism. So the question is, what is the meaning of isomerism? Isomerism is a phenomenon in which two or more compounds can have same molecular formula, but they differ in physical and chemical properties. So the phenomenon in which two or more compounds have same molecular formula but different physical and chemical properties is known as isomerism, and such compounds are called isomers. So there are various types of isomerism. Generally, there is a huge classification of isomerism, like classification of isomers. Isomers can be, or isomerism can be explained as structural isomerism, then stereoisomerism, then there are so many types of structural isomerism, then there are so many types of stereoisomerism, but we are not talking about that. We will be talking about only important ones. So the first one is that we are talking about is chain isomerism. As I have told you, the isomerism is the phenomenon in which two or more compounds have same molecular formula but different physical and chemical properties. So chain isomerism arises due to the different arrangement in the carbon chains. So you know that there are carbon chains. For example, if we are talking about a compound that is carbon, 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 there are 4 carbon atoms in butane, right? So there are 4 carbon atoms. Now hydrogen to each carbon atom, hydrogen is attached to each carbon atom here. So what is the formula of this compound? The formula of this compound is C4H10. You can see here, and the name of this compound is butane. This compound is generally called butane, or in common name it is called N-butane. Now if I arrange the carbon atoms like this in branch chains, so this is the branch, this is not the linear chain. So we can arrange hydrogen atoms like this, right? 1, 2, 3, and it will have 4 bonds also. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 carbon atoms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 hydrogen atoms. Again, the formula is C4H10, and its name is 2-methyl-propane. We will be talking about the nomenclature. How do we write the name? How do we know the names of these compounds? So we will be talking about the nomenclature in next lecture. But these are 2 different compounds, but they have same molecular formula. And why these 2 are different compounds? Because they have different structures. So such compounds are called structural isomers. And if there is a different structure due to the different arrangement of carbon chains, then such isomerism is known as chain isomerism, and these 2 compounds will be called chain isomers of each other. So these are the examples of chain isomers. So I hope you have understood the meaning of chain isomers and chain isomerism. So you have seen here there is different way of writing the carbon atoms in carbon chains. So if there is different arrangement of carbon atoms in chains, then we can have different structures and different compounds. So such compounds are called chain isomers. So these compounds are chain isomers, and this phenomenon is called chain isomerism. The next is position isomers. Position isomerism and position isomers. So what is position isomerism? As I have told you, there are some functional groups which may be attached to the carbon atom. So let's see some examples. Like we have carbon atom CH3, then CH2, then CH2, then we have CH3. Now instead of here CH2 we have one hydrogen atom. Instead of one hydrogen atom we have OH group here. So what is its name? Its name is butane 2-ol, because OH group, you can see here OH group is attached to the second carbon atom. Now if I have second example, that is CH3, CH2, 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 OH. Now here you can see OH is attached to the last carbon atom, that is first carbon atom. So this is the first carbon atom to which OH is attached. So this is called butane 1-ol. Now if we talk about the formula, its formula is C4H3 plus 2, 5 plus 1, 6 plus 3, that is 9, C4H9OH, and its formula is C4H9OH again. So both have same molecular formula, but they have different structures, so therefore they will have different physical and chemical properties. So such compounds are called position isomers, the compounds in which there is different position of functional and substituent groups. Such compounds are called position isomers, and this phenomenon is called position isomerism. So let's see some more examples. CH3, CH2, CH, Cl. So it is chlorine atom attached to the last, or you can see, you can write chlorine atom here. So what is the name of this compound? 1-chloropropane. If we write CH3, CH, Cl, CH3, it is 2-chloropropane. Both have same molecular formula, but different arrangement of the, or different position of chlorine atom. So such compounds are called position isomers. I hope you have understood the meaning of position isomers. Now the next isomerism that we will be talking about is functional isomerism. So in functional isomerism there are two different functional groups, means there will be same molecular formula but the functional groups will be different. So let's see some examples, like CH3 C double bond O CH3. So it is a ketone. It is called a ketone because we have C double bond O here, and along with C double bond O we have CH3 here, CH3 here. So it is a ketone. Its name is acetone. So you can see there is one carbon atom, two carbon atom and three carbon atoms. So there are three carbon atoms, 6 hydrogen atom and 1 oxygen atom. So you can write the formula is like this, C3H6O. Similarly, if we talk about this CH3, CH3, C double bond OH. So you know that C double bond OH, that is not ketone, that is aldehyde. So it is aldehyde propanol. Its name is propanol. So you can see the formula is C3H. Here we will have CH2. So 3 plus 2, 5, 6. So H6 and then O. The molecular formula is same, but physical and chemical properties will be different because these are two different functional groups, and functional groups are those who determine the properties of the compounds. So the next is geometrical isomers. So let's talk about the geometrical isomers. So let's see some examples. There are two types of geometrical isomers. So this isomerism arises due to the different spatial arrangement of groups attached to the double bonded carbon atom. So it generally arises in the compounds which have double bonds between carbon atoms. So for example, there is double bond between carbon atoms. So C double bond C, here we have CH3, here we have H, here we have CH3, here we have H. So this is C double bond C, here we may have CH3, here we may have H, CH3, H. So you can see here we have same formula, that is CH3, CH double bond. We can also write it like this, CH3, CH double bond, CH, CH3. And in the same way, we can also write CH3, CH, CH, CH3 in the same way. But you can see there are different arrangements of CH3 and H groups. So in this case, CH3 is on the same side of double bond. Both the CH3 are on the same side of double bond, while in this case, CH3, one CH3 is on this side of double bond and other CH3, the CH3 attached to this carbon atom, is on this side of double bond. This kind of isomerism, this is due to the different arrangement, different spatial arrangement, spatial, that is arrangement in space. So this is the different arrangement and this is the different arrangement. So these are two different spatial arrangement and these are called geometrical isomers. So this isomer is called cis isomer and this is called trans isomer. So these is the geometrical isomers. So this is the case of geometrical isomerism. So geometrical isomerism arises due to the different spatial arrangement of groups attached to the double bonded carbon atoms. So I hope you have understood all of these topics. If you have any queries, you can ask your question in comment box. Thank you very much.